I started makeup in uni.
Okay.
It was an accident. At one point I wanted to be an architect, I wanted to be a motion graphics designer. That was the aim.
So you mentioned that you grew up in Essex. How do you feel like that affected you as a black woman?
I came from this background where everybody accepted everyone. And I never knew what rejection from nothing you have done but who you are felt like.
Wow.
I did not know the word racism until a white girl told me they're being racist to you. If everything I went through, if the heartbreak, if the humiliation, if the disgrace, if it was in order for me to be led to the person I am with now, I would do it all again.
Chunks of life, chunks of fashion, chunks of entertainment, chunks of relationships. So give me some more, give me some more, give me some more. Give me some more, give me some more, give me some more.
Hi guys, welcome back to the Mo Chunk Show, where we inspire and educate you to live well and thrive in your faith, career and relationships. And as you can see on the show today, we have a lovely guest today. We have in the building Deji Rachel. And we are going to do both Chit Chat with Mo and Deeper with Mo on today's episode. Isn't she looking gorgeous? So for today's Chit Chat with Mo, guys, as a famous lady once said, good girl no dey pay oh. Hope you know that. So that has been the trending phrase. Phrase. Why am I struggling with my words today? Good girl no dey pay oh. I hope you know that. That's been the trending phrase on social media recently, as triggered by the recent coronation that happened. So Queen Camilla, she's now a queen and she's married to Prince Charles, now King Charles. We have a king. It's so weird to say that we have a king, isn't it?
It's very strange.
Yeah, because we're used to the queen.
Honestly.
But anyway, so they had the coronation and that was just the topic of debate on the socials, in the sense of good women finish last. You know, we've always heard the phrase as well, good men finish last, that kind of thing. So I guess my question to you guys is, do you feel like being a good person pays in life, or is there no point? Is it that wicked people tend to prosper more than those of us that are calling ourselves good people or self-proclaimed good people? Is it better to just be wicked so that you can get to where you want to get to and, you know, achieve all your aims in life and, you know, live well, live comfortably? So over to you, my guest. What do you think of, you know, the whole, like, being good gets you nowhere? I think that's a good place to start.
Okay, so just a disclaimer, I'm just gonna talk about my own perspective.
Okay,
yeah,
sure.
It's different for everybody and what you think. This
That's
is not
fine. They'll leave their own
whatever.
comments. You make your own comments, you know?
I think it's about perspective and how you see life and where you want to be as a person and the impact you want to have on other people. Yes, you can do wicked things to get to the top, but can you live with yourself with those wicked things? Can you sleep at night? Would you have peace?
And BTW, this is not us saying that Kabila is wicked, please.
Oh, yeah.
Disclaimer, we're not claiming anything. We're just, you know, bouncing off of what was triggered by, you know, the coronation for God.
I think with the whole Camilla subject, obviously she's now queen.
Yeah.
It goes way deeper than what we have seen or what we have heard. You know, I'm sure that she has her own style and her own story, whatever. But at the end of the day, God has the final say. You know, we have to give account for what we've done in this life. But as I'm saying that, also God also forgives and God also restores as well. So in one secret place, yes, they might have done wicked things to get to the top. I'm not saying that she did anything wicked, but she might have done somebody might have done wicked things to get to the top.
And this isn't just an isolated situation. There's so many cases like that. Like,
there's so many.
You know, there's different celebrities that have, you know, were known to the family, with you know, family friends, and then, you know, they became a side piece or someone that they were having an affair with, and then they became the person's new spouse and the other person. So this isn't a you know, this isn't an isolated situation. But go on.
Yes, but like, what was I saying?
Sorry.
It's okay. Like, God is also one that forgives and restores as well. And I feel like, yes, people may do shady things to get to the top, but at the end of the day, God gives an account for what we, like, you have to give an account to God. And, you know, our reward is in heaven. Even if you're a good person or you're doing good things, at the end of the day, God has the final say, and our reward is in heaven. You know, you may be doing things that you know you should be doing. You may be obeying God. You may be doing things that you know this is morally right. You know, I'm helping people and all that, and your life may not blossom the way you think it should, but at the end of the day, God is keeping record of everything, and your reward is in heaven. Like, that is our eternity. This is just a temporary place at the end of the day. So I think it's all about perspective and what gives you peace. Because at the end of the day, even if you do wicked things, I think our life isn't all about what people do to us. It's about how we respond. So if you're like, okay, I want this, but I need to do the darkest of dark things to get to it. At the end of the day, that thing that you've chosen to do will shape you as a person. Yeah. And can you live with that? There's billionaires, don't get me wrong, there's billionaires that are enjoying life, but there's also billionaires that are very depressed, very suicidal, that have committed suicide. There's people that have it all and they are still not happy, they're still not fulfilled.
Or seemingly have it all,
Or seemingly have it all. But then there's the person that is living literally check by check, day by day, but they're living in peace and they're living in happiness and they're living in contentment because they know the God they serve, and they know, you know, this is what's on my heart, this is where, you know, the Lord is taking me, this is what's happening. And if that means that the things I see may not be the things I necessarily like, I believe in my heart that I will get to where I need to get to, or God will shape things for me. But I always have to say to myself, even if life didn't go the way you think the way you think it should, would you still praise God?
You just still praise God.
Would you still honor Him? You know what I mean? Because ultimately, it's not about the things we have or the things we can obtain. It's like, it's about what Christ has done anyway. So, like, it's about perspective. Now, good girls in this society, in this age, not all the time.
No, or just generally good people.
Good people, not all the time. But how do you want to live your life? How do you want to? Some
people don't care about this morality you're saying. You know, some people just want to live in wealth, in comfort, in whatever, and they don't mind getting to where they want to get to. I mean, they don't mind what they have to do to get to where they want to get to.
There's a consequence. There's always a consequence. There's a consequence. You might not see it now, you might not see it tomorrow, you might not see it in 10 years' time. Your children might see it. Your grandchildren might see that consequence. You'll see the consequence when you meet God. Like, I think
what you're saying about perspective is so true as well, because you might feel like people are getting away with things, and it's like there's this whole thing about like karma. Do you personally believe in karma?
No,
I do, kind of.
I think I understand it because it kind of goes into a bit of scripture about the wicked falling, like. But I don't go around saying, "Oh, don't worry, karma is going to get them." Do you get what I'm saying? Like, I don't go around doing that at all. I'm very reflective. So if something's happened between me and person A, and you know, it's not fair. Like, all you did was bad. It's not fair. I can sulk, I can cry, I do it to God. But at the end of the day, I'll check myself and I check my response. And what am I doing? What does the word instruct me to do? You know, it says pray for your enemies, love your enemies. That's and like now, it's not even about what the person has done. It's a reflection on the state of my heart right now, you know, and if it is pleasing unto God. But that, personally, this is how I live my own life, you know. I like riches and money and wealth, etc. I know a lot of people care about that, but it's not everything, and it's not what saves people. Yeah,
absolutely. In terms of like karma, I don't believe it's this deep spiritual thing. I think there are consequences for actions. I think sometimes the consequences, you see them soon enough, like immediately. Sometimes it takes a while. Sometimes it's even you yourself. Like you said, you might not have peace. If you have a conscience anyway. Some of the things that you do, you may seemingly be living well, but you know the internal turmoil that you're going through as an individual that is not known to everybody. For example, someone who's mean to everybody they come across, usually in the later of their lives, like for example parents, usually in the later of their lives, their children want nothing to do with them. That is a form of karma, but to me it's just a consequence of what they sowed when they were younger. And what you're saying about like treasures on earth versus in heaven is so key, especially for believers, because I know not everybody has that kind of philosophy. Because like, yes, the wicked may be prospering around you, because you know sometimes wealth, it has like the Yoruba word for it is egbin. It has isale. Some wealth is always it has egbin or something. There's a saying. If I find it, I'll put it on the screen. Something about how the bottom of wealth is like there's a bit of dirtiness there sometimes, and that is the case. We talk about how being a billionaire is actually unethical, because to store up that much wealth in the world, there had to be some corners you cut. Whether it's your employees are not being treated well, or the people that's in manufacturing whatever you're selling, are in terrible conditions, or you're not giving them a livable wage. There's so many different things that you have to do to get there that it's almost impossible to be an ethical billionaire. We're not a wealthy person, but like a billionaire. So it's like, I hear what you're saying in terms of at what costs, and I think it's all down to your morals. If you are somebody that you don't really care about what you do to like your fellow person or how you get to where you want to get to, then yes, I would say being a good person does not really pay in terms of gaining that excessive like wealth and stardom. However, I think on the contrary, I actually think being good to people opens doors for you. Yeah. Because, like, okay, you as an example now, we're going to go into, like, Deji's journey in deeper with Mo and everything. But, like, Deji is a prime example of somebody who is, like, super kind and really, like, helpful to people. I think we met, like, 2 years ago. Or was it 3?
Before the pandemic.
So maybe, like...
2019.
Maybe 3-4 years ago? Yes. Or maybe even more than that.
It's 2019. It must have been September, October.
Right.
Yeah.
It must have been 2019 because I was still in my studio at that time. Yeah. So Deji is one of those people that super kind. I'm the kind of person, I like kind people around me, and I'm sure there's people that can testify to that same kind of desire. And I feel like it opens doors for you. And I think recently there's a podcast that you were on, and they were talking about, it's a vendors one.
The vendors table.
Yes, and they were talking about how vendors, when they're working with a couple that's really nice, and maybe they've gone over time, they're more likely to stay behind and like go above and beyond for them, just simply because they were kind, because they were nice. And if they're like a horrible couple, they're like, whoa, my time, I've got to skedaddle. So I feel like sometimes when you are a good person, not a self-proclaimed good person, because there's those people that they think they're nice and they feel like everything should go well for them. People should always be kind to them back, and they get angry if that's not the case. Not those kind of nice people. I think if you're genuinely kind to people, there are people that, they pay it back kind of thing. It's not that you're entitled and you're going out of your way saying, no, you must do this for me. But I think generally people warm up to you more. People mention your name more in rooms when you're not there. People recommend you more for opportunities. Like Deji's been doing makeup for a while now, and I'm sure like most of her clients come from word of mouth, the experience that she had. So honestly, I would say sometimes, sometimes, life is not a Nollywood movie. I think the typical storylines that we see in like Nollywood movies, for example, someone does something bad and then they live well for a little bit, and then eventually life catches up to them, and then they confess and they feel bad and everything. But sometimes we see that in real life, that's not the way it pans out. But honestly, I feel like if you are a believer, just rest in the hope that your reward is in heaven and not on earth. And that I think actually, even with the treasures that we lay on earth, I do think that sometimes being a good person does somehow come back to you in a good way.
100%. 100%. Like it comes back, and it comes like in the ways where you never expected it, but in the time you really need it. All the time.
And maybe not even directly in the same way, because sometimes we feel like what I did, it must be that same exact thing that comes back. So, for example, like if you give someone money, you're like, okay, that means now somebody must give me money as well. But sometimes it might be something as simple as someone gives you a lift or you get a free house. I don't know. It's just somehow, I don't know.
You know what? I just think the ways of the righteous, we can never fail, ever. Even if it kind of looks like you're about to, you can never fail. That's why I tell you, you can never fail. You've gone from height to height and you keep getting higher. That's what I see for you. You can never fail. Do you know what I mean? Like, and that is for children of God, you know, like people that decide, you know what, I'm going to take God's way. You get, there was a time. You know what, yeah, I just think this life with God is not easy at all because you have to die to yourself and, you know, you have to sacrifice and be obedient. But there was a time I was just working in retail and the Lord was telling me, give from every time you get paid, as well as tithing, give some of your paycheck to this family.
Oh, wow.
Like transfer the money to their account. And I don't think I had online banking. So I think I had to go to the bank to actually do it. I was like 19.
Okay.
And 19, 20. And I was doing it for a season. And I didn't do it to get anything back.
Yeah.
I didn't want that money back at all.
Yeah.
I wanted it because I did it because I knew it made
those
God
are
happy.
those are the genuine ones as well. Like when you receive an instruction from God. Like I've had I don't know how it turned out for you, but I've had a similar thing where the little I had, like God was prompting me to give out of it, and I was like, well, I even have a whole video about it. It's like, what am I going to do? That kind of thing. And like the abundance that came after, I wasn't doing it to trigger abundance.
Exactly.
I was just following an instruction.
Exactly.
And then I saw the result and I was like, I saw the link, if that makes sense.
Exactly. And not that I saw the product of this deed through these people, but I saw how God trained me to be someone that gives, you get? And in my time where I could have really lacked, God kept me.
Yeah.
I didn't lack at all. But I could have. It was a perfect environment for it.
Yeah.
But God kept me.
Let me find the scripture about the ways of the wicked, because I was reading it this morning. Oh, my mom just called me. Hey, Kenny, if you're watching.
Auntie.
Let me find it, because I had it on my I was reading, well, literally as I was seeing those conversations, that scripture came to me. Something about the ways of the wicked. Let's just find it. I'm not a Bible scholar, or sometimes I have to Google it.
Sometimes you have to, but you know what the Holy Spirit does? He's telling you like, there's this something in the word about this. You've read it, like, and thank God for Google. You can just put some words together and it will come up.
Literally.
So yeah.
This wasn't meant to be preachy, by the way. It Psalms 73 and says, "Surely God is good to Israel, to those who are pure in heart. But as for me, my feet almost." My feet had almost slipped. I had nearly lost my foothold, for I envied the arrogant when I saw the prosperity of the wicked. And that's so true. Like sometimes you're like, jealous. You know, I want to be like that. They have no struggles. Their bodies are healthy and strong. They are free from the burdens common to man. They are not plagued by human ills. It's so hard for a Yoruba person to say two things like the H and the one. So I want to say human heals. Therefore, pride is their necklace. They clothe themselves with violence. From their callous hearts comes iniquity. The evil conceits of their minds know no limits. They scoff and speak with malice. In their arrogance, they threaten oppression. Their mouths lay claim to heaven, and their tongues take possession of the earth. Therefore, the people turn to them and drink up waters in abundance. Then they say, how can God know? Does the Most High have knowledge? So that's like when you start mocking like those that are doing things right, I guess. This is what the wicked are like. They're always carefree. They increase in wealth. Surely in vain I have kept my heart pure. You see the dilemma that we like... Literally, good girl, no they pay. Hope you know that. In vain I have washed my hands in innocence. All day long I have been plagued. I have been punished every morning. If I had said I would speak thus, I would have betrayed your children. When I tried to understand all this, it was oppressive to me. Till I entered the sanctuary of God, then I understood their final destiny. Surely you placed them on slippery ground. You cast them down to ruin. How suddenly are they destroyed, completely swept away by terrors. As a dream when one awakes, so when you arise, O Lord, you will despise them as fantasies. When my heart was grieved and my spirit embittered, I was senseless and ignorant. I was a brute beast before you. Yet I am always with you. You hold me by my right hand. You guide me with your counsel, and afterward you take me into glory. Whom have I in heaven but you? And earth has nothing I desire besides you. My flesh and heart may fail, but God is the strength of my heart and my portion forever. Those who are far from you will perish. You destroy all those who are unfaithful to you. But as for me, it is good to be near God. I have made the sovereign God my refuge. I will tell of all your deeds. That's 28 verses, and it's like a long bit. And again, this wasn't meant to be preachy, but literally as I was thinking about this morning, this was a scripture that came to my mind. Like I was like, the wicked prosper. And I was like, that's in the Bible somewhere.
Yes, yes.
So it's like, again, not calling anyone wicked or whatever it may be, but just say that sometimes it seems like people are prospering, but based on like this heavenly race, try your best to keep your heart pure.
Yeah.
Try your best to do good and be good to others, regardless of the rewards on earth. Regardless, sometimes it does come back to you, like me and Deji have testified to. But I would say be good for goodness sake.
Yes.
For humanity's sake. And if you're meant to prosper, you'll prosper. Like, you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Wickedness or not.
And there's so many other things. There's so many other scriptures, like God gives us the desires of our hearts and everything like that. Like not to say that your life will be like bad
easy,
and whatever, but the favor of God it will open more doors for you.
And we're not even promised. This is another thing. We're not promised. Again, this wasn't meant to be preachy. I don't know where it's gone in this direction.
It's my fault. Sorry.
Yeah, it's all right. What do you call it? We're not promised an easy life as Christians. And I think, I saw one lovely tweet from Pastor EA, from Pastor Emmanuel recently. He's one of the hosts of Real Walk, Real Talk. And he was talking about, there was a girl, and she tweeted about how she thinks God has favorites. Yeah, and it was a really sad but real, genuine, very, very real tweet about some of the things we face as people who have gone into the faith and come out of the faith, in a sense of she realized that she, there's a scripture about I'll show mercy unto, and there were things she would pray for and, they wouldn't happen for her. And I really empathize with her because I understand disappointment. I've been disappointed so many times in life. There's been times when I felt disappointed by God. And she talks about how she walked away from the faith because she realized that, God has favorites. And I was like, you know what, I empathize with you. But I also feel like, it's what Pastor Emmanuel described it as is the doctrine of suffering. It's not preached enough.
Yeah.
We're promised health, wealth, good times, dancing and happiness and I'm not saying that those things aren't promised by God, but that's not the promise of being saved. The promise of coming to Christ is that you are saved.
Yes.
Everything else is a bonus. So it's like I feel like we do need to preach the doctrine of suffering more amongst Christians because it will prepare us for those hard times.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that you understand the doctrine of suffering and still won't fall away. It does happen. Like there's times where my heart I've been like, seriously? But I think it helps just a little bit. It just softens the blow a little bit. I don't know whether there's anything else you wanted to add.
No, I think you've literally hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
I think the doctrine of suffering isn't preached enough.
Yeah.
I think we've listened to prosperity and gain. So when we don't gain, we are disappointed. I think we've listened to that a lot, but I think there needs to be a time where we do talk about not what we can attain through Christ, but what we already have through him by accepting him.
Yeah,
and also
that's really good.
Yeah, thanks. And also just realizing this is one of the things that is like tattooed on my forehead, if it could be. Christ is enough, and He is my greatest reward.
Greatest reward, yeah.
He is my greatest reward.
Yeah, I know that's not enough for some people, but
you know what? Yeah. It took a while to get here. This didn't happen overnight. No, it took a lot of conversations with God, a lot of understanding, a lot of awakening, a lot of revelation. But it changed my life. Knowing that Christ is my greatest reward.
Yeah.
Like, I you know, like.
That's it.
Honestly,
You don't need to add anything else. You don't need to add anything else. Trust me. Yeah. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're going to, you guys let us know what you think in terms of Chit Chat with Mo. Our question of the day is, what do you think of the phrase? You know, a great lady once said, "The good girl no dey pay." I hope you know that. Do you think being a good person, being a good girl, being a good guy gets you, you know, great pays, great rewards in this life? Or do you feel like you need a little bit of wickedness, you know, just a bit of wickedness, bit of being spiteful, a little bit of selfishness to get to where you want to get to? Let us know in the comment section down below. Is being a good person rewarded in any way, shape or form? Or is there just no point? Let us know in the comment section down below. Hello guys, welcome back to the show, and we're going to go into Deeper with Mo, where we have incredible people tell incredible stories, and I have the Deji Rachel in the building today.
Hi,
and she is an amazing makeup artist, a pro makeup artist, very well known within like the wedding industry, wedding niche, bridal. Bridal, that's the way to describe it. Interestingly enough, we were having a debate not too long ago about bridal makeup prices, because the streets are not happy.
I don't know.
You can bombard her, you know. No, but Deji is like I said in that video. Well, I don't know what the prices are like now, but from what I remember, Deji was one of the sensible ones, like giving you good quality for, like, you know, she knows her worth, but like you feel like you're getting your money's worth as well. But yes, girl. So we're going to talk about your journey. You as a person, life lessons, all that great stuff. So just sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride, okay? So tell us a little bit about yourself, where you come from, maybe a little bit about, you know, your childhood, bits of your story that you believe has shaped who you are today in your career and also as a person. And I know Deji very well, but, you know, I want you to, you know, get to know her.
Hi guys, I'm Deji Rachel. You can call me Deji or Rachel. I am 26 years old. I've been doing makeup for 7 years now. It was 7 years in April, yeah. I've been doing makeup for 7 years now. I do...
7, wow.
Yeah. I do makeup for all occasions. People think it's just bridal, and I understand that because it's all over my page. Yeah. But I do makeup for all occasions. I'm Nigerian, but I was born in the UK. I've always lived in the UK. Haven't been to Nigeria in a very long while, but going soon.
Nice.
Yeah, and I just love what I do. I love meeting people. I love doing makeup. And yeah, I'm naturally artistic. Yeah. I studied animation in university.
Okay, wow,
and
nice.
I graduated. A lot of people think I didn't graduate because I do makeup full time. Yeah. But I graduated, but I just went straight into makeup. I started makeup in uni. Okay. It was an accident. People asked me, "Oh, how did you like?" I didn't know. This wasn't my plan at all. I was supposed to become, at one point I wanted to be an architect. I wanted to be a motion graphics designer. That was the aim. And when I always loved makeup. Always. I used to steal my mom's makeup all the time and wear it to the secondary school. And I used to wear blue eyeliner and mascara. And then no, mine was nice. And then people, like, I only did it when I could be bothered. It wasn't a thing I must wear it. It was just a creative expression, right? So people in secondary school be like, "Oh, did you look nice?" I'm like, thanks. My eyeliner, like, that's why, like, I'm a pro at doing eyeliner. You know, not inside your eye. Yeah,
you've been doing that for a while.
My mom taught me from time.
Okay, so it was even your mom.
Yeah, she taught me, like, because she was like, my mom always likes to, like, look good, feel good, whatever. But she didn't teach me because she thought I should wear makeup. She saw my interest, and I did it like once every 3 months. It wasn't like I must wear it. Yeah. So I always had an interest for makeup, and then obviously just before uni, I got like my first retail job, getting a bit of money, and I went to Mac. Mac was the it girl at that time. There was nothing else, no Fenty, no
because
NYX,
of like I
nothing.
guess like we're women of color. There wasn't really anything for us at the time.
No, there was Fashion Fair, there was Mary Kay, but it wasn't as widely accessible and as popular.
Do you remember that tragic mousse? There was a
Maybelline Dream Matte Mousse. I was never part of that trend. I was never part of that trend, and I'm glad the trend is over. I was never part of it.
That was horrendous.
I didn't actually start wearing foundation till college.
Okay.
But I didn't even wear it. I only carried it in my handbag. So when I got a job, I got a job in John Lewis in Stratford.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was the only Mac store. I think the next Mac store was in central London. Okay. And at that age in college, I'm not going to central London just for makeup. Yeah. So I got paid and I took myself to the Mac store. I was excited. Yeah. I wanted to express myself in makeup. I was always creative.
So had you always loved makeup? Because I think you mentioned like secondary school. Was it a thing before secondary school?
No.
Secondary school was really when the interest began?
I don't really know when it began, but I know in secondary school, I didn't know anything about it.
Okay.
I think so I started going to a Pentecostal church. So I didn't grow up going to church.
Okay.
Yeah. Me and my family started going to church properly when I was 13.
Okay.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. And obviously, I see other people like me. At this point, I live in Essex. So I see other people like me, aunties, and they're doing their makeup and everything. I'm like, oh, they look pretty. And like my mom's doing her makeup and like I see her getting ready for church. I think that's where it sparked. Okay. And, I'm thinking, oh, like, look at their lipstick and everything. I remember once I was in secondary school and I asked my mom if I can ask my pastor's wife to do her makeup. My mom was like, no. She can do her own makeup. As in chill. Yeah. Anyway, so that's where the interest kind of came from. Yeah. And then I went to Mac, fast forward, went to Mac, bought my first Mac lipstick, which was Ruby Woo, because that was the it girl then. I loved Ruby.
I still love Ruby Woo. It's just that red is not really in trend anymore. But
but it's a classic. And I wore that lipstick everywhere. Yeah. And then slowly but surely, watching the YouTube videos and the gurus at the time, just seeing what I can do with what I had, and then got to uni and I have my own space now, and got my own bathroom, whatever. So every single morning without fail, I will practice my makeup.
Really?
Every single morning. Like, wow. I wouldn't miss lectures. I would wake up 1 hour before the lecture and do my makeup. Wow. So, and this was me and my cousin, right? So, because me and my cousin went to the same uni, and we were just into makeup together and new products and whatever. And I was big on growing my MAC lipstick collection.
Yeah. That was a thing as well. Yeah.
I was
There's a purple one. What's the name of that
Heroin.
one?
There was Heroin, there was Rebel, there was Velvet Teddy, there was Mocha, everything.
That Heroin was a bit
honestly
horrible sometimes.
We rocked it, innit? But and then like people were just seeing me in uni, and like my friends were saying, can you do my eyebrows? And I was like, yeah, sure, like come to my room. And then one day in second year, somebody just messaged me and she was like, my friend needs her makeup done for this event, like she'll pay you. Can you do it? I was like, yeah. I ran to Superdrug. There was nothing for our colour, but I had to do something. And I had to use a girl's foundation, and I did it, and she liked it. It wasn't good.
That was your first client.
That was my first client. I actually ended up doing her bridal makeup.
Wow.
Like last year or 2 years ago. Yeah, my first client. Yeah, it was one of those intimate weddings in the pandemic. It was about 2 years ago now. I did her bridal makeup. Yeah. But so she asked me. I was like, okay, that's fine. Yeah. The people in uni are saying, can you do my birthday makeup? I was like, okay, that's fine. Yeah. And I just went from there.
Literally.
And now we're here.
Started from the bottom, now we're here.
Come on.
Started from the bottom, now
Come on.
Now, what a journey, right? Congratulations on all you've achieved so far.
Thank you.
I think sometimes, I feel like our purpose shows up in like the most random of ways. And it's usually like, you can kind of tell the signs when people start asking you to do something for you. It's like, okay, actually, maybe this is something that I should tap into. Because I remember like back then, I think like in 2018, just before I made the move to London in 2019, like quite similar to you, obviously love media, like media is my space, media is my thing. And I used to just create content. And then there were people that would reach out to me, like seeing how good my content was and would say, can you do this for me? So I really never really saw myself as a business owner at the time. But then I was like, if people keep asking me to do this thing and I keep going, and they will even say, okay, let me just give you this as a thank you. Okay, why don't I turn this thing into, what I do, like a business. So that's how I started Anu Media at the time. Although I've kind of like run away from it, from the pandemic, from the pandemic times, and I'm in a space now where I'm like, should I bring it back? Should I not? But I think sometimes the whispers of life will tell you or drive you in the direction of where you should be going. So it starts with a little interest, and then people start noticing it, and then they start requiring your service, in that thing that you're so good at. And it's beautiful that you've kind of like bloomed in that sense. So you mentioned that you grew up in Essex. How do you feel like that affected you as, a black woman? How do you feel like that shaped you as a black woman? Growing up, I believe at the time Essex was a predominantly white area.
Yeah, especially my area. It was very, very white.
Yeah. Even the way you said it.
It wasn't.
That is very layered.
It wasn't a nice place. I moved there. I think I didn't yet to meet somebody that moved there from London earlier than I did. I'm sure there's people.
So you were living in London before?
Yes, I was living in South London, and we moved to Essex in 2004.
How old were you?
How old was I? 2004. How many? 19. I must have been 6.
Okay.
Must have been 7.
That's quite young.
7 years old. And I came from this background where everybody accepted everyone. And I never knew what rejection from nothing you have done but who you are felt like.
Wow.
And honestly, it was bad.
It's such a simple phrase, but that is so heavy.
When I think back to it, it was bad. Like,
wow.
I went to school. Nobody wanted to talk to me. I didn't understand. I had all back cameras. My mom did that. My hair was very long. I had all back cameras. And I never used to like wearing skirts, so I wore trousers. And all of a sudden, I'm a boy. I didn't understand. Like, they're calling me names. They're saying I'm a boy, blah, blah, blah. They're saying I'm ugly. They're saying that I need to go back to where I came from. I honestly did not understand. I did not know the word racism until a white girl told me they're being racist to you. And she was my friend. I didn't know at all. And it took years to really process what that looked like. And it's only until my eyes really opened as I'm growing older, this segregation between myself and the other people that don't look like me and why it occurred. I remember being in primary school. I remember this so vividly. And there was a whole assembly. We had assemblies every Friday, like big assemblies. And
a big one, yeah.
Just your year group once a week or something like that. And I remember, it's so crazy, like I never forget his name. His name is Mr. Watts. And I need to find him one day to say thank you. He did an assembly about racism. Why did he do an assembly about racism when me and maybe only 3 other black people are in that school? Because he knew what was happening. He knew what was happening.
This was primary school kids.
This was primary school. This was junior school. You got infants and junior. This was junior. Yeah, and he did an assembly about it. And I remember thinking, this is like, I'm learning. But I wasn't really understanding that it was happening to me.
Because you're a child. Like, you don't think people are going to discriminate. Like, what do you even understand about discrimination?
You don't even know what trauma is.
Yeah.
So, with something you don't know how to deal with it. So I think I acted very oblivious, but it wasn't oblivious in an intentional sense. I think it was oblivious in, this cannot be happening to me. Like,
that genuine
I don't
confusion.
understand.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Like, and even up to secondary school, people call me names, people bully me, everything. And it's one of those ones, I just thought, I feel sorry for you guys. I actually it was upsetting, it was crushing. But at the end of the day, I have a really strong family. My family's unit is very tight. You can't break us. Like,
did you have siblings in the same school as well?
I'm the oldest, so I went through it first.
Wow.
So my siblings came after me. But I think as they were coming into school, more black people were coming into school as well. So
how did that affect your identity? Like, because that's heavy. Like, someone telling you, you're ugly, you're a boy, you're not good looking, and before you might have thought the world of yourself, and all of a sudden you're being put down. Like, And then the irony, the irony as well that you go into beauty later, like into like a beauty space, which is really like a testament to God turning things around. But
I think,
I
have to thank God for my mum. I have to thank God for my mum and my dad as well. But my mum was somebody that was so sure in herself, it rubbed off on me. So even when they're calling me ugly and all of this, I'm thinking, but I'm not ugly. You're ugly because of what you're saying to me. I'm not ugly, I'm a nice person. I used to think, okay, like, that's why in school I was always doing so well, kept my head down, because I knew I had so much to me than my looks. I knew that from very young, that my looks, like, okay, it's fleeting. I didn't even know the Bible then, but I didn't focus on what I looked like. I focused on who I was as a person. You know, like, I never got in trouble because I didn't retaliate to what they did to me. I just used to think, you guys are actually, I was young. I used to think, these guys are mad. I used to think,
like, what is going on?
Okay,
Why are you behaving like this?
With your words, but I'm gonna get back up and I'm gonna come back to school and you're gonna do the same thing. Like, you're just gonna pick on me for no reason. I was like, honestly, it was like I was in an alien country. I was like, I didn't understand what was happening. So it's like, I think in identity, I was really scared of people not liking me.
Okay.
So I used to, like, when I got to be friends with people, because when I was in primary school, the two friends I had, they were white girls and one black girl. The black girl moved to Nigeria before we got to secondary school, and the two white girls had moved away. So I was going to secondary school by myself and with the bullies from the other school.
Okay.
You get? So I was like, okay, like, what else do I have to offer? Like, and I was like, okay, I know I can be a good friend. So I was really scared about being friends with people, making friends, and then them not liking me because the other people didn't like me. Because I assumed, when I went to primary school, moved from South London, I assumed that I would have friends like I had in South London. Funnily enough, I'm still friends with those people from South London, primary school people, but I'm not friends with the people in like those bullies and meanies or whatever. I don't have contact with them. But like, I was a people pleaser, and I was so scared if people didn't like me. And it's anxiety inducing, because you know what, I'll tell you a secret, I'll tell you a secret.
So me and my 1,000 subscribers plus.
I promise you, people probably look at my widow, but I swear to this day, like, I have to like rebuke it sometimes, but to this day I could wake up and I know I have a client and oh my God, I'm so nervous.
Fearful of rejection?
No, just fearful that they're going to be mean. Do you get? They just feel that they're going to be mean. So, but it's very small. Like, the enemy tries. He really tries. So I stand up. I'm like, no, it's going to be a good day, blah, blah, blah. I'm scared of, like, people that can just switch on you for no reason. You get? I'm really scared. To me, those people are mad people. So, like, sometimes, even to this day, I'm like, okay, I've got a bride. Okay. Wow. I'll be like, okay, cool. And then it's literally like maybe 30 seconds.
And Deji, do you know the irony is that you are one of the most likable people I've ever met? Like,
you know what, it's a battle in my head, because sometimes I think I'm not likable, you know?
Wow.
Because, and maybe I'm not, I don't know. But like, because of what happened to me, I don't understand.
No, you're a really likable person, and like, I think you're really like understanding of people, and maybe that's where it comes from as well. I feel like people that have had difficult like upbringings or childhoods, or maybe they got bullied when they were younger, they tend to be more understanding and kinder to others, because they understand like the darkness that it can bring to someone's life. So they're so intentional about being a light. So like, this is my experience anyway, and I'm sure the experience of many people. I always say that we're all villains in someone's story. So someone might be watching this and thinking, you know, we're all villains in someone's story, and we've all done like wrong to somebody. Like, I've done wrong to people, even though like most people might say that, well, Mo is really nice. There might be someone that was really rude to, you know, that kind of thing. But generally, I feel like you're such a kind-natured person. Like, I even remember when the first time we met, we had a slight issue. Do you remember?
Yeah. I was even being cheeky. But Holy Spirit was like, stop it.
We had a slight issue.
Yeah, we did. We won't get into that. But like I was
But it
being
was quick.
cheeky.
But I think as well that's testament to like who you are, because I feel like you're never gonna be at peace with everybody at every single time. They always say Yoruba, the closest friends will fight with each other, but it's how you handle it and how you handle people. I think when you're able to, even in conflict or like when you've like wronged someone or maybe they've wronged you and you're trying to solve it and you're still being kind, I think that is the biggest thing. It's not that issues will never happen. Like I used to be very like I still feel like I'm very conflict avoidant. Like I don't want to fight with anybody because I feel like that's the end or whatever, because of like the way I grew up. But like conflict is something that you can embrace so long as you're still in that nice, kind character. I think kindness is the biggest thing. I feel like I was going to say something else. Oh yes, in terms of what you said about sometimes you wake up and you're like, oh, are they going to be nice to me? And it's so interesting because I feel like sometimes the enemy plants seeds very early on, because it's almost like, I don't know if the enemy can see your future. Is it blasphemous to say that?
No, he can't see your future, but I think he can play on the circumstances that happen to map out things that can happen. Because he's been around since the beginning of time.
So he's seen the past, so he can use it against you in the present.
And he can, in the present day, he can shape it to his own agenda, that the agenda he has for the future.
Wow.
Do you get it? So I feel like it's definitely like he tries it all the time, but like I just rebuke it now. It's like oh, and then that's why you know what? Yeah, people be like, oh, like you're so lit, like you're such a good like character. It's because I had to conceal a lot of who I was when I was in primary and secondary school, and because I was so scared people wouldn't like me, I had to put on a fake person. I even begged my mom. It was secondary school. I begged my mom to relax my hair, and she begged me not to. I really wish I didn't relax my hair.
Did you? Are you natural now?
Yeah, I'm natural, but it can never. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. If I continued with a natural,
you can still get it back now. Hair grows.
Yeah, hair grows. It's even me. I feel like it's just the patience, but it's me. I have to sit down and research about these things. And maybe have a consultation with a specialist as well, because I've done some things to my hair and it's just not the same. Anyway, I digress. But I think like I had to conceal a lot of who I was. And when I came into Christ when I was in summer of before year 11. Okay. Yeah?
That's around 15, 16?
Okay, maybe summer before year 10.
Okay, so 14?
Yes, that's it. And then I remember just getting to know God and everything. And I just remember thinking, I just want to be what you made me to be.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So now, I get like a bit anxious of meeting new people, but I'm unapologetically me in the room that in the capacity that my circumstance allows me to be. You get? So like now when I meet people, even if I'm nervous, I just put those nerves to the side. I'll be like, hey, what's up, girl? Hi. Or like I see my bride, I'll be like, you're getting mad, as if she's my friend. Like, there's been hairdressers that will be on the job as well. They'll be like, you didn't meet her before today. I said, no, I've met her for the first time today, and we'll be like, oh, but how, like, because I can be me in that space. This is my business. You've invested into my business. I can be me, and I love being me, and I love the person God had created me to be. I'm smiley, I'm bubbly. My name is Double Joy, and I really do believe that has been spoken into my life.
Yes,
I really believe that's been spoken into my life, and I think there's times that the enemy has tried to kill that joy with anxiety, with fear, with depression. I was so depressed in uni. Oh my God, I was so depressed. But like, God literally pulled me out of the fire. Like he pulled every single time. It never fails.
Guys, it's my time of the month and I'm welling up. Normally, I wouldn't get this emotional, but
I've been through the trenches. Like, oh God! But one thing
you're meaning the trenches. Sorry,
you know more about than me.
But go.
But like one thing I have learned, the biggest lesson: I would never send my children to a predominantly white school. They have to see people that look like them.
Wow.
They have to. Representation matters. But why is it that a 7-year-old should be the representation? Because he can come out very negatively. 7-year-old, what do they know? Like,
I do wonder where kids like that learn.
It's sad. Like it's sad. Like it's
Sorry,
really,
I interrupted
sad.
you.
Oh no, it's fine. So that's one of the things I've taken away. I'll never let my kids go to. And my parents, they did the best for us in that time. Course, you know, they really did. My parents have tried. You know, even recently, my dad told me when we moved, the day everything was done, we got the keys and we we officially moved everything to the new house. My dad told me that night, he looked out the window and he even said, have I made the right decision?
Wow.
So even for them too, that was a different space for them.
Because
completely.
Even think about it. Like you want to raise a child or your children in a safe area.
Yes,
Number
exactly.
one, quiet area. You don't want your children to go off the rails. So you want to move them to a nice area. And sometimes those areas, not always, but sometimes those areas are like predominantly white areas. And also like cost of living as well. Like I grew up in Sussex, and Sussex is slightly cheaper than London. I'm sure that's the same for Essex. So
Yes,
there's
it
all
was
those
at the time.
at the time. Now everything is
Spiked up,
everything has spiked up regardless of the area you're living in. But that was a thing as well. There's so many different factors to consider when you're trying to raise a child and give them the most comfortable living experience. But that thing about representation is such a difficult balance to strike, I can imagine, because you want your children to be around people that look like them, but what if the areas that you can afford that provide that then have issues such as insecurity, then have issues such as safety, then have issues such as maybe the schools that you want their children to go to are not, you know what I mean? So it's an interesting one.
It's hard. It's very difficult.
Yeah.
That's why I can't blame anybody. But I thank God that I went through it.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't be.
Would you send your kids to private school?
Grammar school.
Okay.
I don't know about private. I heard more cheeky things go on in private school.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
but who knows? All I know is that God had been looking down at me and He had been keeping me. So the same God that kept me, even through those trials and tribulations in school, like I don't know. Like there's things about private school, things about public school. I actually don't know, but God will guide and lead me when the time comes.
Amen.
And He will protect them, you know, and keep them, you know.
Yeah.
But grammar school at the least.
Yeah, and I think also raising children that are able to be vocal.
Yes.
To let you know when something is off. Like regardless of whatever school you send your children to, I'm sure there's something that's going to in some way rub them off the wrong way. Sometimes it's things they can deal with. Sometimes it's things that, no, let me carry my child. We've seen so many things in the news about, tragic incidents from bullying young kids, and I'm like, who taught you this?
Honestly, even in Nigeria, that boy that the bullies made him drink acid. You know that story. That story took me weeks to get over because my youngest brother is his age.
Yeah.
So even I remember I started thinking, oh my God, like my brother is going to secondary school, and I started even thinking, I hope he can handle whatever comes his way, you get, because the world's not a nice place. School is can make or break you. Secondary school, primary school, it can make or break you. But I have to trust God because I can't be with him in the secondary school. I'm not supposed to. You get. So Amen the same God that kept me will keep my children, will keep my siblings, will keep all of us.
Amen.
Yeah, that's what I truly believe.
Amen. And speaking of God, I kind of want to go into your faith journey. I know you said you got saved at 14, but I want to delve into that a bit more. How do you feel like, God has shaped your life? How do you feel like how do you feel like you infused the God factor into your business and the things you do? Because obviously you are a pro makeup artist, and I feel like when you are a Christian, you're called into several different spaces, and that can look very different for different people. For me, it's media. I believe for you, it's makeup. So how do you feel like the God factor affects your business and the way you connect with people?
You know what people say, what's the best bit of my business? What's the best part of being a makeup artist? And it's the people. It's the people I meet. It's the people God
This is how you see it. Someone that wants to serve people. Sorry, God, it's so beautiful.
You know what? It's just like, because even before I was a makeup artist, I had a passion for letting people know how God had changed my life. Wow. Even from so young, I had such a passion because God had completely changed me from the inside before He changed my outside.
Hello, gorgeous people. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. If you would like to see the rest of the visual side of this episode, you can go to my Patreon via the link in my bio and become a patron. Is it patron or patron? Become a patron of my content on there, so you get some exclusive longer length videos or full length videos on there. Or you can listen to the full audio version for free on a podcast app of your choice, such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and so much more. Thank you so much for tuning in, and see you in the next episode.
The same grace I want people to give me, I give to other people.
That's the thing. You want that from people. It's usually when we're hurting, it's usually when we're in pain that we overflow and spill that out to people.
I think the most beautiful relationships come with turbulence. I went from being lonely to being so filled because of God.